Hi everybody, it's Becky with Life Keys Energy. Welcome to tonight's restorative class. For tonight's class, we need 2 blocks or 2 books that are about the same size, and we need a bolster or 2 blankets rolled together to make a great big burrito to use as a bolster. Let's go ahead and get started. Coming into Sukhasana, heels in line with the groin, starting to rock side to side, feeling those sit bones connect to the earth beneath you. And coming into just a little bit of stillness here. Bringing the shoulders up to the ears, waterfall the shoulder blades down the back. And start to imagine there's a string on the top of your head pulling you just a little bit taller. If it feels safe, close the eyes. And if it doesn't feel safe, just lower the gaze down to the ground. Take the next few moments and start to notice how it feels to breathe tonight. Where does that air want to go? Where does that air not want to go? Is the breath flowing with ease? Or is there some constriction present? And does your breath feel light, or does it feel heavy tonight? There's not a right or a wrong. There's not a good or a bad. Just notice and observe. And as you breathe, does your belly move? Or is the breath getting caught up in the diaphragm, up in the heart space, or even up in the collarbones? And if it feels safe and it feels right for you tonight, slowly start to deepen your breath. Just gently encourage that breath to sink a little deeper into the belly. And allow that exhale just to linger just a little longer. Slow and easy. And if it's appropriate for you tonight, see if you can make that exhale maybe 2 or 3 counts longer than the inhale. We're going to hang out in that breath pattern for 5 to 8 rounds, letting our exhale be easy and long. And as your mind starts to wander tonight, bring your mind and your breath back to this breath pattern, where you're breathing deeply into the belly, and your exhale is 2 to 3 counts longer than the inhale. We'll bring the hands to heart center, press the thumbs into the sternum, and take a moment to set a sankalpa or an intent for tonight's practice. This is your practice, make it personal. Exhale, release the hands to the knees, drop the chin to the chest. Inhale the ear to one shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, ear to opposite shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Continue with this, let your breath start to carry you. Hold any places that feel particularly lovely tonight. And then when that ear comes to a shoulder, go ahead and leave it there. Bring that same arm up and over. And walk your opposite arm away from your body, lengthening your scalenes, those neck muscles. And start to play with the angle of your chin here. See if maybe if you draw the chin up towards the ceiling a little bit more, or maybe if you tuck it in towards the chest a little bit more, or maybe if you angle it down towards the floor. Find your perfect stretch here and hold. Inhale, we're going to take our extended arm and lift it up. Flex the hand and act like you're pushing against a wall. And see if that gives you a slightly different sensation in those scalenes. Maybe play with the angle of your chin one more time. And hold here for 3 deep breaths. Exhale, release. Switching sides, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhale the ear to the opposite shoulder. Bring that same arm up and over, adding just a little bit of pressure. And walk the opposite hand away from the body, lengthening those scalenes. Playing with the angle of the chin, noticing what feels best on this side. Slow, deep breaths. Inhale, lift that extended arm up, flex the hand, push a wall away here, and find that sensation in the scalenes. Slow, deep breaths. Inhale, come back to center and release. Rolling out the shoulders. We're going to interlace the fingers and bring the fingers back behind the occipital. Elbows open up super wide. Spine is still straight. We'll drop the chin to the chest and add just a little bit of pressure here. Finding that stretch from the occipital ridge almost down to the mid-back here. Slow, deep breaths. And then round the back, look down at the belly, keep the pressure on the back of the head. Breathe in deeply. Inhale, lift up. We're going to take these interlaced fingers and push them away. Roll the shoulder blades down the back. And then round the back, look down at the belly and find that stretch between the wings. Slow, deep breaths here. Inhale, lift up and release, rolling out the shoulder blades. We're going to cross the arm across the midline, find your opposite knee. Do your best beauty queen pose. And then you're going to draw your shoulder down towards your free knee as the elbow comes up towards the ceiling. If this is not enough of a thoracic spine stretch for you, maybe start to open that heart space up towards the ceiling just a little bit here. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Inhale, lift up, switching sides, reach for the opposite knee. Do your best beauty queen pose. Draw the shoulder down towards the free knee as the elbow comes up towards the ceiling. Check in with your body, especially your back. If it feels safe, maybe rotate that heart space up towards the ceiling. Breathe in here. Inhale, lift up, rolling out the shoulder blades. We are going to grab one of our blocks and bring our blocks towards the top of the mat. We don't need it for this next pose, but we'll need it for the pose after that. We'll take a second block and just put it out to the side. You may or may not be using it for this stretch. We will see. So we're going to come into a modified scorpion twist. And in order to do that, we'll lay flat on the belly and then extend both arms out wide. From here, we're all going to roll up onto our right hip, keeping both hands onto the ground. And that left foot is just going to hang back. Maybe it touches the ground, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it feels better resting on a block, maybe not. We're here for 5 slow, deep breaths. Exhale, come back onto the abdomen. We're going to switch sides. Rolling over onto the left hip, bringing that right leg back behind us. Maybe that foot hangs out in midair. Maybe it touches the ground. Maybe you rested on a block. It's your practice. Hanging out here for 5 deep breaths. Coming back onto the abdomen. We're going to grab our blocks or our books. When I teach, our blocks and books have 3 levels. So we have baby bear, mama bear, and papa bear. Most likely, most of us are going to want that block on that mama bear level, nice and medium here. This is actually going to be your pillow. So we'll place the block widthwise at the top of the mat. Laying in this position on our abdomens, we're going to cross one arm across the midline in one direction and cross the opposite arm across the midline in the other direction. Use those spidey fingers to hang on to the ground and give yourself a little bit more of a bicep tendon activation here. And then the forehead rests comfortably on your block. We're going to be here for about 2.5 minutes, taking some slow, deep belly breaths. Slowly start to deepen your breath. We take the arm that we crossed in front and uncross it, and thread it back underneath, reversing the cross of the arms. Use the spidey fingers to hang on to the ground again and lower the forehead down to the block. Coming into the Kelly on the opposite side. Slowly deepen your breath. Uncrossing the arms. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And you're going to push your hips back to meet your heels, coming into a balasana, a child's pose. If it doesn't feel comfortable for your body to come into a closed balasana, so the knees together, feel free to bring those knees out super wide and bring the hips back in an open balasana. Taking 5 slow, deep breaths here. And we'll walk with both hands over to the right, placing that left hand on top. Hips stay close to the heels. And walking the hands over to the left, right arm on top. Hips stay close to the heels. Walking your body back to center. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and pushing ourselves up to a seated position. The next pose we're going to come into is supported thread the needle. So for thread the needle, we are going to want to have one block or book on that baby bear level. This is going to be your pillow. And then we'll want one block on that papa bear level or maybe the mama bear level. To come into thread the needle, we'll start in tabletop. So in tabletop, our joints are stacked. The wrists are under the elbows are under the shoulders, and the knees are under the hips. Backs are flat. From here, I'm going to inhale my left arm up towards the sky, and exhale, thread my left arm through. My left shoulder will go onto the floor, and my head will rest onto my block. My right arm now is free to reach up here and hang on to this block as I pull my hips back just a little bit, Finding that activation between the shoulder blades, a slight opening in the back, taking some slow, deep breaths here. If you find your mind starting to race here, come back to the breath. Notice when you're breathing in. Notice when you're breathing out. Slowly deepen your breath. We're going to bring that extended arm back underneath the shoulder. Push ourselves back up into tabletop. I'm going to move my block to the opposite side, and we'll come into thread the needle on the other side. Inhale, lift up. That was wrong. Thread it through. Place the head onto your block, and then you'll take your left hand, reach up, and pull those hips back just a little bit. Thread the needle. Slowly deepen your breath. Bring your extended arm back underneath your shoulder. Unwind and push the hips back to meet your heels for a balasana for 3 slow, deep breaths. And then bringing those hands back underneath the shoulders, push yourself up to a seated position. We are going to grab our bolster or the burrito we made with 2 blankets rolled together. Whichever one you do, you want a lot of support underneath you. This is a new pose for this class. So we're gonna kiss our hip right up to the bolster. And we're going to stack the legs for just a moment. The arm position is different than what we usually do because this is a version of deer pose. So we're going to bring the arms up overhead, bend at the elbows, and hang on to opposite elbows like so. From here, we'll lift up through the spine and lay down onto our bolster or burrito. I like to take my hand right here and add a little pressure, pulling this elbows. Oh, it's gentle. It's a gentle stretch here. And then you're going to take your top leg, keep it bent, and bring it back behind you as far as is comfortable. We're not finding our edges in this class. We're finding a deep relaxation. So wherever that gentle stretch is for you. We're going to hang out here for about 5 minutes, taking some deep belly breaths and just letting the practice do the magic. Slowly deepen your breath. We're going to take that top leg and slide it forward, stacking the legs again. This will protect our low back. Release the hold of the elbows. Bring that top arm underneath the body and push yourself up. From here, we're going to turn around, bring the opposite hip right up to our bolsters or burritos. Stack the knees again. Bring the arms up overhead. Lift up through the spine. Lay down onto the bolster. And then take that top leg and slip it back behind you, finding your comfort here. Bringing your mind back to your breath. Noticing where that breath is going. Noticing the quality of your breath, the ease in which the breath flows in and out. Slowly start to deepen the breath. Restack the legs to protect the low back. Release the arms, bringing an arm underneath the shoulder and push yourself up. We're going to take our bolster, our burrito off the mat. You might want to have a blanket handy for the next two poses. You don't need one. It's just a matter of comfort, like emotional comfort, not physical comfort. For the next pose, we need a block or a book. I'm going to have everybody start on this baby bear level. Do know that you can bump it up to mama bear or papa bear. I'm going to put it on the mama bear level just so that you can see what I'm doing up here. So you'll place your block widthwise. If you're using a book, go ahead and just put that book flat like so. We're coming into a supported fish pose. So we'll bend both knees to protect that low back. I like to hang on to the block of the book to make sure I'm safe. We're going to line it up to the bottom of those shoulder blades. So it's going to look like so. And then once I feel like my shoulders are supported, I'm going to open my arms out wide like a T and allow my head to start to tilt back. Your head may or may not touch the ground. It's absolutely okay. Gravity is going to work with you here. So your head may be touching the ground at the end. If this feels safe for your low back, feel free to straighten the legs. Maybe you bring the blanket across your hips here. Maybe you don't. Totally yogi's preference. If you get into this pose and there's not enough of a stretch or not enough of an opening, please bend both knees, bring the elbows under the body for support, and use the arms on your neck to push yourself up. And go ahead and change the block position. And once again, get into the pose slowly. We'll be here for 5 minutes. Coming back to your breath over and over. Slowly deepen your breath. We'll bend both knees and plant the soles of the feet on the ground. Work the elbows underneath the body and then push yourself back up to a seated position, being mindful of how your neck feels. We're going to come into our final resting pose, Savasana. You may or may not want a blanket under your knees for this pose. We're going to lay flat on back. Bring the legs out as wide as the mat or wider. Walk the shoulder blades down the back, palms facing up. Maybe you're slipping a blanket under the knees, maybe you're not. We'll ease into our Savasana practice by adding a few heel rocks here. So putting a slight bend in the knees, just push through the heels, push in the body up. Your head is probably going to start to shake, yes. Activating that parasympathetic nervous system, soothing the body. Release the heel rocks. Doing one more set of heel rocks, pushing through the heels. And release. Take a moment, see if you can make yourself 10% more comfortable on your mat. And start to notice. Notice where the heels connect to the earth. Notice where the calves connect. The glutes. The hips. The shoulder blades. Back of the hands. Back of the head. Entire body held and supported. Slowly start to deepen your breath and start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Bringing the arms up and over the head for full body stretch, taking up as much room as you possibly can from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Rolling over onto one side, pausing there for just a moment. Bringing to mind one thing that you love about yourself, one thing that you're grateful for right now, and offering yourself just a moment of gratitude for taking time to practice today. When you're ready, and only when you're ready, push yourself up to a seated position with hands at heart center. And I leave you with these words from page 96 of the She book. I used to think I'd be alone forever, strange, misunderstood, aching to create but too hurt to move. Then one day I started to share my weird, my bizarre, my darkest part of the night poetry and the scarred lining of my broken, hopeful heart. I was greeted by other wounded and open beings, dream weavers, love warriors, and magic makers. And together, we're walking each other home. I am so grateful for the opportunity to practice with each and every one of you. I hope you leave this practice feeling just a skosh better than when we started. The light in me so very much honors the light in you. If you find value in this practice, please share this Patreon with your friends and family. We no longer need to be in close proximity to practice together. If you're looking for inspired content, something that you can't find via the search bar, please shoot me a DM. I love to create inspired content. In the meantime, be kind to yourself and be kind to others.